Obesity, homelessness, shelterless, addiction, adoption, determination, grit, and tragedy are a few words to describe the story of Caleb Swanigan. Caleb Swanigan was born April 18, 1997, to a father who battled a drug addiction and raised by a single mother is one of 6 children. He bounced around from Indianapolis, Indiana, and Utah for much of his first 13 years of life, going through 5 different homeless shelters, and when homeless shelters weren't available, living under a bridge. When Caleb's mother decided to relocate the family to Houston, his oldest brother Carl Jr. stepped in. Afraid he would gain more weight, he turned to his mentor and former AAU coach Roosevelt Barnes as a last cry for help. Eventually, Roosevelt Barnes, a former 3-sport athlete at Purdue and a successful sports agent, agreed to adopt Caleb and take him in. Caleb arrived at Roosevelt Barnes' house prior to his 8th grade year, weighing 360 pounds and standing 6'2". Quickly, Barnes addressed Caleb's eating habits, and after meeting with a cardiologist and getting the okay, he started putting Caleb through strength and conditioning workouts, similar to what he experienced himself as a student athlete at Purdue. Along with the goal of losing weight, there was another goal between Barnes and Swanigan. That was becoming either the number 1 left tackle in football or becoming the number 1 power forward in the country. After one Alabama football camp, it didn't take long for Barnes to realize football wasn't Caleb's passion, and the focus shifted towards basketball. Now the newly acquainted father and son duo poured their resources into becoming a household basketball recruit in the state of Indiana. When it came time for picking a high school, Caleb decided on Homestead High School in Fort Wayne, Indiana, a school that did not have a rich basketball history and had never won a state title. Not only did Caleb exceed expectations personally with records of 1,649 points and 1,048 rebounds to go along with 704 points scored in a single season during his senior season, he won Mr. Indiana Basketball and also would bring home Homestead High School's first ever state championship in his senior season in 2015. Not only was Caleb flourishing on the basketball court, but that kid who once weighed 365 pounds that Roosevelt Barnes picked up at the airport was a sheer image of himself. As a senior, Caleb weighed 260 pounds, and by then was a 5-star recruit and already had 2 gold medals to his name, winning one as a U17 member of the USA national team and U19 member. By then, Caleb already secured his commitment to Purdue, following in Roosevelt Barnes' footsteps, beating out Michigan State. Caleb arrived in East Lafayette in 2015, and in his freshman season, he did not disappoint. He was the first major college basketball player in 25 years that had 600 points, 400 rebounds, and 100 assists in a season, and started every game as a freshman. After his freshman season, he would test NBA waters, but ultimately decided to come back for his sophomore season. The following season, Caleb just built upon where he left off as a freshman, averaging 18.5 points per game, 12.5 rebounds. He also owned a 52.7 field goal percentage, along with shooting 44% from 3. Along with these jaw-dropping stats, Caleb earned the Pete Newell Big Man Award, Lute Olson Award, Big Ten Player of the Year, and First Team All-Big Ten. This time around, after his phenomenal sophomore season, Caleb decided to keep his name in the 2017 draft. As fate would have it, Caleb was drafted in the first round as the 26th overall pick to the Portland Trail Blazers. To be short and sweet about Caleb's NBA career, Caleb was dealt midway through his second season in Portland to the Sacramento Kings. And then a year after that, the Sacramento Kings traded him back to Portland. During that time, His career had been filled with NBA G League stints and minimal opportunity to get on an NBA court, despite when the coach would clear house at the end of the game and empty the bench in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Shortly after Portland reacquired Caleb through a trade, the NBA season would abruptly shut down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And like for many people in the world, COVID created tons of challenges. Not only did the COVID-19 pandemic put a lot of strains on people, but it also had a challenge for big corporations such as the NBA. After a long hiatus in March, and strategic planning throughout those months, the NBA decided to come up with its plan to resume the 2019-20 NBA season at Disneyland. Caleb opted out, citing personal reasons. As for the average NBA fan, it might have not come across as anything, but maybe for more avid NBA fans, this was an opportunity he was missing out on. Going into a contract year and a chance to find more of a role with a team that believed in his abilities as a player on draft night. This might have came across as something more mysterious. In October of 2020, the NBA bubble would wrap up. The Los Angeles Lakers would come out on top as the NBA champions. Not too long after that, in November, the new NBA season would start. As for Caleb Swanigan, he would go unsigned to an NBA team. In the middle of 2021, Caleb Swanigan would be going viral. A photo was snapped of him reporting to court for previous legal issues, and in that photo it showed a much heavier set Caleb Swanigan than usual, which sent many people into a media frenzy and former teammates defending him. In June of 2022, Caleb Sylvester Swanigan took his last breath on Earth. He died at the age of 25 due to natural causes. The kid who conquered so much in his life, especially the first 13 years of it, made it to the NBA, where less than 1% of people make it. The storybook kid, though, did not get the storybook ending, and unfortunately, the chapter was written way too soon, with a life that had so much light to it.